Hey there everyone, and welcome to The Mindful Musician. This channel is the go-to place if you are interested in exploring the strategies and tools that help you become more aware of your inner world as a musician and constantly evolve into the best version of yourself as a player and creator, or how to become a functional part of a band or group and enhance your success in that endeavor. I'm Cosmin, guitarist, singer, professional educator, and martial artist from Bucharest, Romania. And today I will teach you how to get into the zone when you need to perform. So one of the first things I've learned as a practitioner neuro-linguistic programming coach was the anchoring technique. And you too can learn how to use this powerful tool once you make sure to follow the next 3 stages I've covered in this video. Learn how to describe an inner state, meaning how to describe your own experiences based on your senses. Notice and understand your actual inner state versus your desired inner state in respect to what you want to be better able to do. Anchor a desired inner state and recall it when you need to. Anchoring can definitely help you out, but before we get to the actual process of self-anchoring, I would like to briefly discuss the concept of inner state. An inner state is a mix of specific stimuli we perceive via our senses. That's why you will hear me talking about the concept of sensory-specific description of a particular experience throughout the videos on this channel. Basically, when you think of a certain situation, let's take performing on a stage in front of an audience, for instance, you should become able to describe that experience using your senses. You can regard each experience as being split into 3 possible stages: before, during, and after it occurs. But first, let's go through a quick overview of the senses. Visual, what you see around you, and also the images coming to your mind, made up or coming back as memories. Kinesthetic, what you feel inside and outside your body. Auditive, what you hear inside your mind, imaginary or remembered, or from the outside. I'd like to emphasize on the possible presence of the inner dialogue here. By that I mean what you tell yourself about what's going on. These voices coming from inside us are the voices of our parents or any figure of authority that has marked us in some way, which can be useful or not for each specific context. Olfactive. That means smells that you remember, imagine, or perceive from the outside. Gustatory, which are the tastes that you remember, imagine, or perceive in reality. Once you can describe any experience in high detail in relationship to your senses, we can move on to the next concept: actual state versus desired state. Please listen to the following experiences based on sensory-specific descriptions. I was at the edge of the stage as the band before us was approaching the ending of their last song. I watched the crowd. It seemed huge. There were many people dressed colorfully, and while seeing that mass of people, I heard a voice saying, "You have to play incredibly well." My hands started freezing and feeling lighter, but not the kind of lightness I would get after a good practice session. I tried to play my guitar a bit to warm up, but the more I did it, it felt like my hands were misaligned. I felt like my right hand was hitting the strings, but my left hand was lifting or pressing other strings instead. I felt like my throat was getting drier and drier, and a slight nausea all throughout my body. My hands started shaking a bit harder than before, and images of all sorts of things started rolling through my mind like this insane carousel. And now, I was at the edge of the stage as the band before us was approaching the ending of their last song. I watched the crowd. It seemed huge. There were many people dressed colorfully, and while seeing that mass of people, I smiled. My mind was empty, and I was only focusing on my breath, which was steady, and it made me feel relaxed. My hands were warm and light, the kind of lightness I would get after a good practice session. I tried to play my guitar a bit to warm up, and I felt like my right hand was hitting the strings hard and precise, while my left hand was lifting or pressing the strings with utmost relaxation and in perfect sync with the picking hand. I felt my mouth was hydrated, just like after drinking a glass of water, and I smiled again while I checked my whole body, from head to toe. It's mine, and it feels so good and relaxed. I feel like I'm ready to rock. Come on, let's go. What you've just heard were my descriptions of an actual state before a concert and the desired state, which I personally like to experience when getting ready to perform. So here's a test for you. Close your eyes and imagine you're getting ready to go on stage, and then describe your experience in utmost detail. What do you see, hear, feel, smell, taste, and/or tell yourself? If it feels easier, think of a moment in reality in which you have experienced this and describe it instead. Write it down. Afterwards, close your eyes again and think of what you would like to see, hear, feel, smell, taste, and/or tell yourself when you're in the same situation, but what you're experiencing is absolutely comfortable and fitting for you to perform excellently on stage. If this feels a little difficult at first, remember your best performance and the inner state you experience then and describe it instead. Write down the description. Now remember, this is your personal playground and you can design your experience exactly as you would like it to be. So if any details feels too strong or too dim, enhance it or decrease it in your imagination. It's interesting that sometimes we may have a great performance, but our inner state does not feel that good. This can also happen, so I want you to pay attention to this detail. What we're doing here is we're trying to get closer to the ideal situation based on the fact that state influences behavior. Thus, awesome performance comes from an ideal inner state. Will it be the same all the time? Absolutely not. But the more you practice, the better you will become at performing from a place of lightness, relaxation, and ease, getting these to pair up as stated above. Anchoring an inner state means that when you know how you would like your sensory experience or desired state to feel, sound, look, smell, and taste like, you anchor it on your body by following the process I'm going to describe further on, and you learn to recall it whenever you need it. Step number 1, describe your desired state based on a sensory-specific experience. Step number 2, sit or stand, close your eyes or not, it can work both ways, and imagine living the desired state, what you see, feel, hear, or tell yourself, smell, or taste. Step number 3, when the intensity of what you're imagining is at a peak, choose a part of your body and touch it in a specific way while holding that touch for a while living the experience intensely in your imagination. For example, I'm imagining how I'm soloing insanely good on stage, and on the most intense note, I grab my left hand pinky between my right hand thumb and index finger and hold it. Step number 4, slowly open your eyes. If it's the case, come back to the room and start moving. Step number 5, count the first 5 objects around you to break the state you are currently in. Step number 6, recall the anchor by executing the touch in that specific part of your body exactly how you've done it. Observe how you're experiencing the inner state you have anchored. Step number 7, go through steps 1 to 6 as many times as needed until you get at step 6 and you immediately and intensely experience the desired state. Presto! You just anchored yourself. Congratulations, buddy. Remember, this takes practice. You need to program an anchor at least 4 or 5 times for it to stick with you, so don't feel bummed if it doesn't happen as quickly as making a sandwich, After properly anchoring yourself, you will be able to do it better and better. After all, think about the intensity of naturally occurring anchors. For instance, if a particular song was playing while you kissed someone you were madly in love with for the first time, I bet you that song will be one of the most powerful anchors ever. As I'm thinking of this, my heart is already beating faster and I'm being hit by an avalanche of feelings, images, tastes, smells, and sounds. That's the kind of power an anchor has, and yes, you can get to that kind of power by also practicing anchoring. Before saying goodbye for now, I want to remind you that we'll be covering more concepts in guided practical activities, why and how-to videos, interviews, and collaborations. So check out the suggested videos at the end of this one, smash that like button, hit the notification bell, and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.